Exactly 200 years ago, Adoniram Judson went from America to Burma, the land of Burma, thousands of miles away. I'm having pains. The baby is going to come. The baby's going to come. And Adoniram said, no, cannot. It's too early. It's only a few months. I'm pregnant. How can the baby come? Oh, yeah, I can't stop the baby. The baby's going to come. It's going to come. And the baby came. On the boat. Wow, a little baby. But it didn't breathe. Oh God, it's too early for the baby. Oh. And then hugged his wife Anna, and they prayed, God, be with us, strengthen us for this task ahead. There's so many things I'm sure that we're going to face. And this is the beginning, I guess. Lord help us. And so finally, they took the little baby, wrapped up the baby. Little baby, we love you. We know that you're going to be gone in Jesus' hands. And they prayed to Jesus. Jesus, take our little baby, born before its due time. But she's going to go to your hands, your most beautiful, lovely, warm hands. And we're going to join her after our task is done in Burma. And so they lowered the baby's body over the rails and into the ocean, into the arms of Jesus. Adoniram and Anne had a strong faith. They were going to go far away to the land of Burma. They went on this boat from America. Thousands of miles they went. And the boat was a good boat, but there was no cabin for them. So they could only have a canvas to cover themselves. Sort of like a little bit of a small home. And they were able to hide inside there when the storms were coming, or the wind was great. But it wasn't much of a cabin. And outside, there were soldiers, there were sailors, rather. The sailors were just a rough bunch. They were cursing, they were drinking, they were fighting, they were playing cards, they didn't care. Obviously they didn't care about Burma or anything like that. But you can think back about the story when Adoniram, or Don as they called him, was just a child. He was like a child prodigy, probably. At 3 years old, he could actually memorize all the chapters of the Bible. The chapter titles of this chapter is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy. At age 4, he loved to follow what the preacher would do. So he would get on top of some kind of a platform, and he would preach to his neighbors, kids, all the other friends he had. He would start preaching about Jesus and God. And by age 12, he had already finished his studies in Latin and Greek, so he could prepare himself to study the Bible well, because he knew that one day he was going to serve God. But he went to college. And in college, he fell in with some really bad characters. And these bad characters drew him aside. And they were drinking and fighting and carousing in the bars all the time. And as they were doing all this, one of his friends particularly said to him, "Ha ha ha, you're stupid. You come from this church background, huh? Sunday school, huh? You learn all these things about God. That's not true. Forget it. Now you're a big man. You're a college kid. And we can be independent. We can think our own thoughts. We're modern. We don't think about those things about the Bible. Forget it." One night, he was in an inn, and he was staying overnight. He was drunk. But he was kind of dozing and sleeping. And he could hear that on the next bed, there was a man who was groaning and groaning and groaning. And he wasn't sure what's happening next door to him or next neighbor to him. So he just went off to sleep. Next morning he woke up and he asked the innkeeper, what was that all about? What was that man in my next bed doing? Yeah, the innkeeper said, sad case, sad case. He came in drunk and I thought, well, yeah, I put him in bed. He had money, so I took his money and he was in bed. And then I guess in the middle of the night, maybe he choked on his vomit or something. He was dead drunk. And anyway, he has the papers. I'm trying to sort through who he is and what it is. And then Adoniram saw the name. This is my best friend. He's the one who told me to forget about God. And he's dead. He's dead. Where is he going? He's going to hell. He did all these terrible things in his life. He never repented. He told me there's no God. I guess there's no question he's going to go to hell. Oh, God, bring me back to your arms. I know that you're a real God. God, bring me back. I'm sorry for wandering all these years in college. And so he rededicated his life. He wanted to know how God could touch him and change his life so that he could go and preach the gospel and tell many people about Jesus and about eternity and about being with God instead of being sent to some who knows where kind of a place called hell. And so, sure enough, he started reading and reading and reading. And he heard about the land of India and Burma, far, far away, where the people had not heard about Jesus at all. Millions of people had not heard about Jesus. And so he knew, God, you're leading me there. But it's far away. It's far, far away. It's really thousands of miles. If you go across the Pacific Ocean, round the Cape Horn of Africa, go to the Indian Ocean, finally land in Burma. It's really a long, long distance. Sure enough, travel was amazing. The mornings when the sun rose was gorgeous. It was so beautiful. You kind of see like God's creation. And at night, when the sun started setting down the horizon, was gorgeous too. The sun rays, the beauty of the oceans, it was just great. But other times, it was turbulent. It was storming. There was a great it seemed like an earthquake happening. All the waves were crashing down on him and really striking him in a very hard way, practically. That was painful. And then the thunder and the lightning and the wetness, and they were trying to get themselves going to settle, but there was no way they could do anything. There was no cabin to go into. They were just hanging on to things and trying to make sure that they didn't get thrown off the boat because the water was coming and it was so slippery they could easily have just thrown overboard. But sure enough, they survived. And finally, they reached the land of Burma. Burma, the place they had been praying for. Burma, the great land. And there, the Sri Dagon. The Sri Dagon. It's like the kingdom. A new kingdom there. A kingdom where the Lord Buddha reigned. Just like he was the king of the place. It was a very, very imposing sight to see from far away. And he knew that this was the kingdom that he had come to face. And as he got off the boat, he saw and he heard, what is that? What's going on? Is it to welcome me? I guess not. It's to worship the Buddha. And every day, they worship the Buddha. Every morning, every evening, they worship the Buddha came. Gongs and cymbals and lots of noise. And he knew it was like a challenge to him. So he went on because he wanted to find Lanciado, the Spaniard. But there was a smell on the road. He's like, oh, what kind of smell is that? And he noticed, oh, it's a dead body. Oh, on the side of the road. And then there were all these dog-like things, these hyenas that were hovering around, I guess trying to get at the dead things. And then there were these vultures hanging by the side of the road. And vultures, which when they spread their wings were as big as a man, huge creatures. And when they saw dead things, they would sweep down and they would devour the dead things, dead bodies, dead whatever. Take a deep breath. Wow, I'm bringing my wife to this place. And we've already had our first martyr, our baby, already dying on the way. And I'm facing all this misery here. So God, give me strength. Give me strength. Let me see Lanciago. Lanciago, the Spaniard, had been there for many years now. And he had gotten used to the land. So when he saw Don come up, he folded his hands. Why are you here? So Don said, I have this crumpled piece of paper that's a letter of invitation. A letter telling me where to go. And you're the contact person. You need to tell me what I'm supposed to do here. Lanciago said, this is stupid. You're here to die. And you brought your wife here. You're a murderer. And you said your baby died. Double murder. Why are you here? That's ridiculous. These people have a beautiful religion. They don't need your faith. Come on, come on, come on. Why are you here? Go home before you ruin everything. I have a nice life here. Don't worry about me. You can go. But don't try to influence other people about their religion. Don stood his ground and he prayed while he was listening to Lanciago, the Spaniard. And Lanciago said, okay, I guess I can't change your mind. But let me tell you, at least there's some very nice things here. Not everything is bad. There are some nice things. For example, there are these mangosteens. Mangosteens. I've never even heard the word nonsense. Say it. Mangosteens. Mangosteens. Wow, but man, it's a beautiful fruit. You take it out and it's crystal white inside and it's juicy. It's delicious. And then there are these fruits that are lots of spikes on it. And they're called durians. Say durians. 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 They smell like crazy. They're like smelly, I don't know, eggs or smelly cheese, you know, kind of like that. But oh, they taste good. They taste good. It's lovely to taste. And you'll get used to it. You'll love it. And the local people think it's the queen of the fruits. It's so good. It's called durians. And then there are these custard apples. These custard apples that look so interesting on the outside. You take them out and oh, each one of them is like a precious gem. And you can eat it. It's so delicious. So there are good things here too. Don't worry, actually. You might even enjoy your food and these things there too. But there's a king. And the king is the king of the kingdom. And he's a rough man. He lives in a beautiful palace, just like a castle. Like a king should be in a castle. But he's a tough man. And if he knows that you're coming into town, which I'm sure he'll know sooner or later, you're going to get in trouble. So watch out. Plus, I guess maybe you really need some help. So how about I'll introduce to you Mong Shui Wong. Mong Shui Wong is a rebel monk. The king doesn't like him. The chief monk doesn't like him. Nobody likes him. But he's smart and he's good. He has good language skills. He'll teach you about Burmese, but the king will not like him. So you're in trouble, Mong Shui Wong is going to get in trouble too. So you guys watch out. But I think that would be the good person for you. because he's really good and he knows his stuff. But remember, the king is a powerful king. And when he gets upset, he comes in and he sweeps through, destroys everything. He just cuts down everything. And then, if he really doesn't like you, then you've heard about, the fairy tales about something about off with your head. This king actually does do off with your head stuff. So watch out. But the worst thing that he has is he has this really, really bad act that he does, which is called the maul. And do you know what he does with the maul? Oh, I'm sorry, time's up. If you're displeased with the ending of this talk, you can say, But we'll see you tomorrow for the next phase of the story. See you. So what is the maul? The maul, the Spaniard Lanciago said, is one of the worst forms of torture because he uses the maul for those who reject Buddhism, and he gets hit. He doesn't kill you right away, but he makes you miserable until you die. So, Mr. Missionary, this is the life that you might get into. The king, beware of the king. But having said that, actually this place is all very nice too, in other respects. There's all these beautiful foods I told you, right? And the mangoes. You haven't ever eaten a mango, I'm sure. Mangoes are such a delicious thing. And you eat it, it's like, whoa, it's sweet, it's delicious, it just tastes so good. And you've never seen a papaya probably, right? Papayas, like a papaya every day, would keep those doctors away. It's such a wonderful fruit. Just take it every day and scrape and scrape. Everybody loves mangoes and papayas. They grow everywhere here. You don't have to specially grow them. It's really good. And the people here are so cheerful and so joyful. They smile all the time, especially the kids, the sparkling white teeth. And as they're selling you their mangoes, or when they're walking in the streets and selling you all their cloths, colored cloths, beautiful cloths. Just so wonderful to see them walking around. And look at their faces. They love to cover their faces with a white paste kind of a thing. Makes them pretty, I guess. But they put them, all the kids love to do this, and all the women love to do this. Next. And yes, and when you see the adults actually have this cheroot. They smoke this cheroot thing. Cheroot. Big cigar that poisons the atmosphere. It's terrible, but they love it. They love it. And sometimes what you see are big spiders. Some are like giant spiders, and some of them are like poisonous spiders. And sometimes they come at you from the top of the trees. They just fall down on you and they just come to you. But your world will be with Mang Shui Gong. Mang Shui Gong will help you. Mang Shui Gong is a learned man. He's very wise, and he knows all about Buddhism. He's a renegade Buddhist monk, but he knows all about it. So he'll teach you about it. But be careful, because the king hates it. But when you see Mang Shui Gong, when he smiles, his face is all black teeth. Or red teeth, because he likes to eat these betel nuts. These betel nuts give him energy. He doesn't brush his teeth. He just uses betel nuts, and they blacken his teeth, make his teeth red or black, depending. And he likes to tattoo himself, so his legs are full of tattoos, and the tattoos are there to get rid of the evil spirits. So here's an interesting person, and you should learn from him a lot. In fact, you should learn enough so that you will be able
to talk to those monks. They will come to you to ask for you. What is the truth? What is the truth? And we have the truth. You say you have the truth. Let's discuss this. So you should learn enough Burmese to be able to talk to them, to explain to them, because some of them really will be willing to listen to the truth. So keep your faith, young man, because you are now going to be the challenger. You're going to go to the Sri Dagong. You're going to go face the Buddha, the great Buddha, the one who's going to be in control of all of the country. And the great Buddha, he is the Lord of all. And the Buddha controls each part of the lives of the people. Every morning, the children say their prayers to Lord Buddha. They pray to Buddha. They think that he is like a god. And then when you're adults, you start reading and memorizing and chanting the scriptures of Buddha. Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. And every morning, the monks, whether young or old, will go out and beg. Because to beg is to show that you're humble, you're trained, and the person who gives you the rice will show that they are kind, and they will get merit, and they'll give you the food. So every day you see all these monks going around town, going to all different houses, knocking on doors, and people giving them the rice. And sometimes people even bow before the monks to show that they respect the monks. And they will pray with a prayer bead, a prayer like a rosary kind of thing. They pray each bead, each bead, each bead. So they remember to pray every day. So Buddha has a big, powerful influence in this place. And when you are prepared, you will face him. And after months and months of teaching, Adoniram Judson thought, maybe this is the day I will go to the Sri Dagong. The Sri Dagong, the most beautiful Buddhist temple in all of Burma, maybe all of Asia. Really a very, very big and golden and beautiful place. And then he noticed on the ground before the Sri Dagong all these shoes. People were taking off their shoes before they went up to the Sri Dagong. So he was thinking there, should I take off my shoes or should I not take off my shoes? Does it really matter? So he thought, well, maybe it doesn't matter. So he started walking up to the Sri Dagong. As he walked up to the Sri Dagong, he saw the people there praying and chanting, and the Buddhist monks chanting and chanting. And then one of the monks looked at him, but he didn't seem to mind whatever he was doing there. But then another monk, the chief monk, started looking at him, and his eyes got bigger and bigger and bigger. His furrows came, and his frowning, and he got angrier and angrier. You animal! You're a monkey! You're foreign monkey! You foreign animal! Get out of this place here! How can you be in this place with your shoes on? You're insulting us, insulting our Buddha. What do you think, monks? What do you think? Get rid of him, right? So Adoniram Judson knew that it was going to be a problem. So he backed out. So he backed out of the place. He wanted to leave because he thought this is causing too much trouble. But before he could get too far, a soldier came out. A big soldier. And this soldier had his knife out. And he said to him, you foreign animal, you're causing too much trouble here. The governor wants you. Come with me. So he pushed him and pushed him and pushed him. Pushed him before the governor to see the governor. And the governor is a one-man justice system. One-man judge, he decides everything. So he watches the people come into him and they shakud him, meaning they kneel and they just come before him. And The governor looks on and he makes all the decisions. He saw a man over there. He said, "You're guilty. You get sent to the elephants to trample on you and you will die." Suddenly, the man's servant jumped up and ran to the governor. He said, "Governor, before you do anything, there's money here. There's a whole bag of money. Is it okay? We can give this money to you, and it's okay. Don't do anything. And the governor said, "Money? Sure, not bad. Dismiss case." And then he saw another person there, lying there in the corner. "Man, what are you lying in the corner there for? You're guilty too. Go be with your friends in hell." And the man died just from that. And you, Mr. Judson, Mong Judson, what are you doing in our country, our golden country, our golden land? You're here, you're causing trouble. But it's so late in the day, and I'm so tired. You just go back. Don't give us any trouble. Especially, it'd be nice if you went home. So he did go home to his wife, and he talked with his wife. And he said, "Anne, what do we do? The governor is upset with us. The chief monk is upset with us. We will be in trouble." And Anne said, "I have an idea. A woman's idea. I know that the governor's wife is supposed to be really nice. I'll go visit the governor's wife. I'm going to bring some flowers. The governor's wife is a gentle lady. She'd probably like flowers. I'll just bring these flowers to her. Hibiscus that I like." So she went over to see the governor's wife. And the governor's wife really liked the flowers. So, "Oh, good. And she started talking with her in Burmese. And they were getting along quite well. They were just chatting. Beautiful flowers, your family. And then Anne said, "I have a gift for you." So she brought out a gift. It was the Niagara Falls. A beautiful picture of Niagara Falls. At that moment, the governor showed up. "What are you looking at?" "Wow, what a beautiful picture. Niagara Falls? Niagara Falls? Niagara Falls? Wow, it's a big river, a big waterfall, a big place. Oh, I would love to see it. Is this everywhere in America? Do people ride boats there? Do all Americans paint so beautifully? Oh, that's so nice." And he started to smile. And he said, Anne, you're so beautiful. Why are you married to that beast there? That animal. In fact, why don't you and your husband, the beast, move closer to us? Over there, where you live, it's a terrible place. You always smell dead bodies, right? And you also see the vultures and the dogs and the hyenas, because that's an execution place. They chop off people's heads there. That's not a good place to stay. Move closer to us. Here is a little better. So that was good. So Anne and Adoniram got to move a bit closer to the governor. The place was better, it was safer, there was not so much trouble. But after a few months, Anne became worried. She had a worried look on her face. She started having headaches. She started feeling not so good. She started having a fever. She was just very restless. She couldn't sleep too well. She was just feeling sicker and sicker and sicker until she had to stay in bed all the time. And they didn't have many medicines in those days. In fact, their medicines were really primitive. Maybe they had a few vials of something, a few kinds of little medicines that they could give. And sometimes they give something like mercury. They used to give mercury to people. We know now that when you give mercury to people, you actually can kill them. But they didn't know then, so they gave her some mercury. And she got sicker and sicker and sicker. Oh. Don was praying to God, what do we do? What do we do, God? What do we do now? We're far away from anything. And Anne said, hey, let me go to India. It's hundreds and hundreds of miles away. But there, I can have a time to rest. 3 months, let's say. Give me 3 months, I'll go over there. I know it's far away, but I have a thought. We cannot send mail to you because it would be too far, but we can have a signal. At night, when the evening star rises in the sky, I will know that you are praying for me hundreds of miles away in Burma, while I am in India. And you will know that I am praying for you at the same time. So we can pray at the same time for each other and remember each other. Would that be good, Don? And Don said, yes, I will do that. And so Anne went off to India, and Don stayed to pray for her, especially every night. When the evening star rose, he was always on his knees praying to God for his dear Anne. And one night, as he was praying, he heard this crash in the underbrush. Some big noise crashing through the underbrush, through the trees, through the shrubs, and it was coming. What is that? Sorry, time's up again. Tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. Anne was now far away in the medical mission in India. But every night, as the evening star rose, she knew that Don was praying for her, far, far away, hundreds of miles in Burma. And he knew that at that time, Anne, hundreds of miles away, was praying for him too. So it worked out well. And so they could pray to God, please protect Anne, or protect Don, also give them strength. But one night, Don was just in the middle of prayer when he suddenly realized there was this crashing sound. This sound of like a big animal crashing through the underbrush, through the shrubs, through the trees, and coming right at him. And he was like, what is this? What is this? Because their home is all built with thatch. It's not like a strong building or something. So he was really nervous because he never heard of this before. So he started looking out through the cracks, and he saw the eyes of the leopard. It was running at him. He's like, why? Leopards don't do this. Leopards usually are very stealthy. They're very careful. They just come and they grab something. They don't make any noise. So this must be a very upset, angry leopard for some reason. And so, and came right through. And at the end of the day, at night, he still couldn't figure out why it happened. Strange things happen when you live right next door to nature. When you live next door to lions and tigers and leopards. And I'm so glad now to see that Anne was on her way back. And so he met her at the docks. Oh, Anne, it's so wonderful to see you. After all these months, 3 months that you've been away. We can be together, we can serve together. It's just so wonderful that you are okay. And Don, you look good too. But Don didn't look good for long. A few months later, Don had this terrible headache. It was a worse and worse headache. The headache was splitting his head. It was like the head was about to explode. And the neighbor came by and she said, oh, I know the exact treatment for this. I have this smoking cheroot. It blew the smoke in his face. See, it's better? It's better? It's better? And no, not really, but it's okay. Thank you, but I don't need any more shibut spews. But she wouldn't give up. She said, I have the exact treatment for you. I have a friend. I'll pay her. She'll come, and she'll give you this treatment. You just relax here. And he had this headache. And then this witch doctor came. What's this? What is that all about? Oh, I'm glad she got paid for that. My headache, is it better? Huh? No, it's not better. Oh, it's come back again. That was a ruckus. But it's about time to build the Zayat. The Zayat is a place where we could actually build something so that we could begin to talk to people in a good and educational way. I could then sit in the Zayat and we could build it right on the road to the Sri Dagon, where people will pass by and I'll have a chance to talk to them about Jesus. And sure enough, one of his first guests was the executioner. It's like, why are you here to visit me? I didn't do anything wrong. Are you okay? Come sit down. But the executioner said, don't worry. I have all these scars, right? All these scars outside me because I get in fights and people don't like me. And they bring out their knives and I bring out my swords and we have a fight and they slash my face, they slash my body. And not only that, inside me I have deep scars too because I've killed many people. I've chopped many people's heads off with an axe. And so I have deep, deep scars. So the question to you, sir, is can Jesus heal my scars? John said to him, Jesus can heal the darkest sin in his heart. He can heal your deepest scars. Your external scars will be there, but your internal scars, the scars inside your heart, Jesus can get rid of them because he is the Prince of Peace. And like you saw those shoes lying out there, when you go into the Sri Dagon, these shoes also represent my shoes, the shoes of peace that Jesus brought me to come here to tell you about. Jesus can bring you peace. Then one day, Mong Nao came up to Judson and said, Mong, Judson, can I become a Christian? I want to become a Christian. I want to be baptized. And then he thought about it. Well, if I'm baptized, I could get in trouble. The king could come with a maul and he could beat me and beat me and beat me and beat me. And Judson said, if that happens, I will substitute for you. I will take the punishment for you. And I will bear because I'm the one that brought you to Jesus. And Mong Nao says, no. Teacher, you're the teacher. You can't do that. So they baptized him in the river. He became the first Christian in Burma. The first Christian, can you imagine? But Judson was nervous. And he said, what indeed if the king hears about this? There's one new Christian now in Burma. He will come after Mong Nao and maybe many others too, that they come and become Christians. We must go to the king. We must appeal to the king, petition the king. Maybe the king can change the laws. Maybe there could be many religions in this country, not just one religion. And Mong Shui Gong, his teacher, said, well, I'll go with you. And Judson said, no. You go with me, it's dangerous. The king doesn't like you. He'll kill you. And Mong Shui Gong says, if you go, I go. You're my student, you go, I go. So, okay, let's go. So they both went. along the Irrawaddy River, all the way up to Ava, the capital. They were in Yangon, where Sri Dagon was. But up this long, long river, you could then see the king. Finally, he had never seen the king. He'd heard all these terrible things about the king, but he'd never actually seen the king. So they said a prayer. God, bless us, protect us, keep us in safety so that we can meet the king and hope to change his heart. And so the boat went. And along the boat, it was great, the ride. You could see all these kids bathing on the side of the river. So sweet. And then people were all selling things, bean paste, sugar and stuff like that on the side. Oh, it's really nice to see that. And then the smells, the fragrant smells that came. All the smells of fried this and fried that, fried fish, fried shrimp, fried river prawns, fried chicken. That smell that came right through from the banks of the river right to the boat. And then there were all these young men and women that were pouring water on each other, just like you did today. Because there's actually a water festival in Burma going on. And so on Water Festival Day, everybody goes around and pours water at everybody else, just like you did today. Silly thing to do, but like you did. And along the side of the river, you can see all these people bearing all these heavy burdens. Baskets and baskets full of fish and shrimps and prawns. It was a very, very wonderful place where you can see lots and lots of food that just comes right at you. Along the rivers and all up the trees and stuff like that. Yes, in the trees. There are all these apes and orangutans and cheetahs and chimps, and they're all staring. Some of them were vicious though. Some of them like to come and steal. They grab things, and they steal things, and they want to grab those things. But some are really nice monkeys, just like my friend Abu. Abu, you've been at every vacation Bible school that I know of.
Yes.
Good friend Abu is back again. Cameo performance here today. But remember, in that place there also a sign of evil. The great vultures that fly all the time in the skies. Watching for anything dead so that they can come right down. And they look ugly. They really look ugly. Especially when they open their mouths at you. But on the side of the road, you can see also all these nets. Net houses. Nets are spirits. There are 37 nets. 37 spirits that the Burmese worship. 37 big ones. And they build these houses to feed them. They put food in there, they put good stuff in there, to remember to worship those spirits so the spirits would not harm them, to protect them. But the biggest power in the land is the power of Buddha. Buddha everywhere. Big Buddhas, small Buddhas, standing up Buddhas, lying down Buddhas, sitting Buddhas, angry Buddhas, kind Buddhas, all kinds of Buddhas control the life of the people there. And every day you can see people going to temples and temples and temples and temples and temples. All over the place are all these temples. You can see that millions and millions of people were worshipping a false god. And it was painful for Adoniram Judson, because he knew that he was a lonely person on a lonely river going up to see the king in a land that had only one new Christian at this time. So he went up to see the king, full of hope, but also sadness and just some depression too. So he finally went to see the king. And the king is seated regally there. And next to him were all these people that were, it's very hot there. So the king has to be fanned and 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 fanned. But the king, he's the big king. He's the golden foot. king calls himself the Golden Foot. His foot is golden. And he rules in the golden land. And he speaks the golden tongue. And he rides on white elephants. The king is the king of all. He's powerful. His word is the final word on everything.
Is he more powerful than God?
No. He is a powerful king, but no match for the God of all kingdoms. And that's what energized Adoniram Judson when he went to see the king. He knew that he was representing the God of all gods, the God of all kings. And so before him, even though he was nervous, he was not scared. And the king said to him, "You all come here and you shiku to me. That's good. But what are you doing here, you white beast? You white monkey? What are you doing here in this country here? This is our golden land. We don't need people like you. We have everything. Look at my palace. It's so beautiful, you know? And our people are so beautiful. And we have such beautiful temples. Why do we need you? And you have a new religion you want to tell us about Jesus? Who is Jesus?" And Adoniram Judson said to him, "I represent the God of the universe, the God of all gods, the God of all kings. And he's the one that will bring you peace. I'm the messenger of peace to you. And God will give you joy, peace, and happiness through trusting in him. And he will solve your sin problem." We know that in this country, sin is a difficult problem. Sin, you have to go through many, many incarnations and incarnations and incarnations, and maybe one day you solve your sin problem. But Jesus came and died on the cross for you, sir, and everyone else. Plus, I hope that we can bring to you doctors and teachers to come too. Would you like that too? And the king thought, Well. Let me think about it. Dismiss. So, Meng Shui Gong and Judson, they went out for a walk. Try to see what the area around the palace is like. And it's very beautiful. Yes, indeed. Around the palace were all these lakes and lakes and lakes. So beautiful. And you can see like all of God's creation there. So beautiful. But then he saw in the far off place, there was a woman who seemed to be pleading for something, maybe pleading for her life or something, and a soldier with a knife over her. And Judson said, "That doesn't look good. Let's go. We better go help her." And Meng Shui Wang said, No, don't do that. I see there's a monk there. And there's another soldier there. There must be some kind of a court trial there. And maybe that they're going to wrap her up and tie her up. And I see the rope there, so it must be. There's a lot of rope hanging out there. So the rope must be to tie her. And to tie her up so that they can throw her into the water. And when she throws in the water, if she sinks, she's guilty. If she floats, she is not guilty. That's justice. And Pastor said, No, that's not justice. How can you do that? We better go save her. No, you can't do that. You are not supposed to touch a Burmese woman. And you certainly cannot touch the monk. The monk is holy. You cannot touch him. So, and Justice said, No way, I'm going. So he ran. And Meng Shui Gong said, I'm running faster than you. I'm younger than you. I'll run. So they both ran. And Meng Shui Gong went before Judson. And just as they were going there, the three people had the woman and threw her into the... Oh, I'm sorry, time's up again. How come's always the time? Tomorrow we'll finish the story. The missionary story of Adoniram Judson is a real story. It's a real story. It's not a story that is in a storybook, but it really happened 200 years ago. In fact, last week, was the 200th anniversary of their landing in Burma. And they were the first American missionaries in Burma, and they set the stage for a lot of work in evangelism and missionary effort in Burma and India and other places there. So this is a great story, so come back and think through with me about this story. So Adoniram Judson and Wang Shuigong are racing to get to the woman who is being sentenced to some kind of punishment. They're not sure what, but they're running. And Wang Shuigong says, don't touch her, don't touch her. She's Burmese, you're not supposed to touch her. But Judson says, I have to. And Wang Shuigong says, I know, I'll race ahead of you. And he ran. And by the time he got to the woman, they had already taken her up and thrown her into the lake. And there, as she was drowning, Wang Shuigong ran right up to her and grabbed her and tried to get her out of the water. And by that time, Judson had already arrived, and they both yanked her and tried to get her, and finally dragged her back up to the shore. And there on the shore, they untangled all the rope that she had been bound in. Lots and lots of rope to prevent her from struggling out and getting out of it. And of course, this was a crazy kind of a justice. But the Gangok, the chief monk, he was not amused. He said to them, you people, you are going against the law. The law demands that she be punished. She is guilty. I will take you to the court. The court will decide, and the court will send you to the mall. The mall, the daily beating until you die. And sure enough, the soldiers yanked her and him, all three of them, and took all of them and put them in the court. And in the court, the judge was very stern, and he looked at them and says, why are you all here? And Wang Shuigong, imagine Wang Shuigong, who's actually a rebel monk, the king doesn't like at all. He suddenly had this courage, and he puffed up his chest, and he said to the judge, Judge, I am responsible. This is my student. I taught him all about Burma. And so therefore, whatever responsibility it is, it's mine. And anyway, I was the first to get there. And I was the one who rescued the woman. So any punishment comes on me. Don't put it on my friend here. And the judge said, impressive. You're willing to take the responsibility for your friend, this foreign beast, this foreign animal? And Wang Shuigong says, you know something, Judge? I've watched this missionary. I've watched his life. I've heard all he's been talking about, Jesus and faith and justice. And I think he has a lot to say that is very good. I'm not a Christian yet, but it's very, very touching what he's telling me. And the judge said, Well, Mr. Judson, Wang Judson, tell me more. And Mr. Judson, filled with the Holy Spirit, with a shield of faith, now had a chance to talk to the judge and tell the judge, Judge, I came here to this country to tell all your people about Jesus, about peace, joy, love, and justice. And so I saw that this was injustice, this was not justice, and that the woman was being thrown into the water, bound. There was no way that she could come out of this. There's nothing that makes sense about how she could rise up and therefore be considered innocent. Of course she was going to sink. And the judge stepped back a little bit, thought about it. What you're saying makes some sense. I'm impressed anyway with Wang Shuigong. All right, case dismissed. So the relatives grabbed hold of the woman, took her out quickly before the judge changed his mind. And then Wang Shuigong and Judson started walking out the door. And Wang Shuigong said to Judson, it's amazing. Your God got us in trouble, and your God took us out of trouble. It's a strange God that you worship. But I think we better carry on and translate the Bible now, because the judge may change his mind, the king may change his mind,
Everybody may change his mind. Just go quickly. Let's translate more of the Bible. Maybe you can give bits and pieces, parts of the Bible to people. And sure enough, that's what they did. They hurried. And 2 more people now helping with doing the Bible. So together, they worked on the Bible furiously. And they were able to go out into the places of the market and gave little tracts to people, like to the people who were going around with all these things on their hand, all those who were selling the food and the meats on the marketplace. We were going to the place where they were slicing the pineapples. They have a very wonderful way of slicing the pineapples. They take a knife, see all the rough parts, the hard parts, and they knife it all out, and then they slice it off, and they give you a slice. So, oh, you give me a slice of pineapple, I give you a slice of the Bible. And then he went around to the other places, and to those who were preparing all the stews and soups so that people can drink and eat at the same time there. And he went out to visit with all those hill tribe people who like to smoke their pipes. And then went to hill tribe people that had all these long necks. The necks were so long because they had wires around them. From early childhood, it was like torture. They could make the necks longer and longer. These are people up in the tribes, up in the mountains. And even the Akha tribal people, the people that Wendy Wong, the missionary, goes to work with, they're also in Burma. In fact, in Burma, there are all kinds of minority tribes, small tribes, tribal tribes that are up in the mountains, and they all need the gospel too. And one day they would even get the gospel in their own language, not just Burmese or Thai or something like that. One day, the boat arrives, and sure enough, Dr. Price arrives. Dr. Price is the doctor that they've been waiting for. In their culture, the doctors are quite respected. And the doctors can come in and heal and treat and all that. And especially in their culture, they draw pictures about doctors and all that kind of stuff, physicians. And so, Mr. Jackson says, oh, good. I have all these things I would hope that you can help me treat. I have a lot of people with boils on their skin. And many injuries here. Boils, and full of stuff that you can poke a hole in, and then all the pus will come out, and it'll drain it, and it'll cure the person. That'll be good, right? Yeah. I have ready. I have all these gadgets with me. I have all these instruments with me. My knives are already sharp. They can easily cut into the pus, and then the pus will drain out, and then the person will be cured. Very good. And I also would like to see some other patients. Yeah, there are patients, all kinds of patients. There are patients with ear trouble, there are patients with eye trouble. Yeah, if you're good, why don't you go treat them? Yeah, take a look at them. That would be very helpful. I know that they would like it if you could come and treat them. So look into their eyes and look into their ears and see if you can do something about it. Because a lot of people are kind of blind here too because of some illness or some infection. And their ears are not so good too. So can you help? That would be very good. But then one day, now, the first believer, he's now as a baby. And the baby is born with her eyelids all closed up. And the mother's very unhappy, very distraught, very sad. What do we do? And Mr. Judson said to Dr. Price, do you think you could do something about this? It's kind of a dangerous thing, I'm sure, right? Yeah, the eyes are shut, but I think it's just because there's something stuck there. And we could put a little slit there just to get the eyes open. I think it would help. Oh, we better not do that. It's too dangerous. If you do something and the eyesight is a problem, could be blind forever, right? Yeah, we gotta be really careful. Let's pray to God first. God help us. God help Dr. Price. Give him wisdom. Give him good skill with his fingers, with his scalpel, so that nothing happens that would be bad. And truly, let the glory of God come upon his people. And so, with adequate prayer, Dr. Price readies his instruments. He figures that he had better do this in a very careful way. And so one day, he said to Mrs. Mong Now, come and have the baby here. And we'll give the baby a bit of wine. Feed the baby a little wine. The baby will be a little drowsy and won't be agitated and won't feel the pain of this. Give it to her and try. So indeed, a little bit of wine, the baby starts sleeping. And sure enough, a friend helped hold the baby's head, and then Dr. Price very carefully took his forceps and pulled open the eyelid a little bit, a little slice, a little slice, a little slice, a little slice. Finally, it worked. It happened. The eyelids were opened, and the baby could see. Everybody was so happy, and everybody was praising God for that. It's so wonderful to be able to do a little bit of help to people, because it would help affect their lives forever to be able to see. Now is a good time, Judson said. Let's go and see the king. Maybe we can bring you to the king, and we can introduce you, and maybe the king will see favor in us, and maybe he will help us to establish ourselves here in this kingdom in an open way. First, we have to find a boat. This time is more difficult, we know, because there's rumbles of war everywhere. People are restless. People are unhappy. There's just too many things happening in the community. So go get a boat, please. So they came back and said, we found a boat. We found a boat. This boat is a special boat. It goes all the way to Ava and back to from Ava, and it travels a lot. But there's something strange about this boat. You must know. And when he got on the boat, they found out what was so strange about this boat. Because there was a snake, a cobra, that came with the boat. And Judson said, a snake, a cobra, what do we do with a cobra? He said, don't worry, this cobra is a special cobra. This cobra is actually kind of okay, because this cobra has been well fed. I just gave her a lot of rice. So she's well fed, so she's not going to bite you yet. But a cobra would be like a god, like a patron god of our boat. And as the boat goes up the river, we need the protection of the snake, because on the side of the river, there are alligators and crocodiles everywhere. It's low tide time, and lots of crocodiles are waiting for us. And there are robbers also, because it's low tide time. They can easily come on board our boats. So a snake god especially would be very good. So don't worry. This snake will be helpful to us. Then, as they're walking around, suddenly realize, wait, what's happening? Our food is kind of odd. What is this going on there? My banana, it's got a hole in it. What's that? What do you think that is? How come there's a banana hole? Huh? What do you think? The captain laughed. Of course, no big deal. There are plenty of rats around here. The rats have these sharp teeth, and they love to bite holes out of your food. Why not? They're hungry too. But don't put your finger out at night when you lie in bed, because your finger might be eaten. Not so good, huh? Next morning he woke up, and on his feet were all kinds of bites. Wait, how come there are all kinds of bites? The captain came by again. No big deal. These are just rat flea bites. Rats eat stuff. Rats have fleas. It's simple. Don't worry. That's just normal. And this is walking around, just exploring the place. Judson started looking under the places. Wait. There's all kinds of snakes under here. And not only snakes. There's also all kinds of rats around. Oh, the place is full of rats. Oh, and down in the basement there, and all the hole there, everything is full of rats. So many rats. What do we do? The captain says, don't worry. Rats are normal. Rats come with the territory. They come with the boat. Anyway, I'll give them to my snake. Snakes love rats.
Good food, good protein. Along the road, by the side of the river, you could see that things were happening. The golden foot was roaming. He was going around to see all these people, which doesn't mean good things. Probably something is happening. And the golden foot goes around with these big elephants, and they come around and they make a big sound wherever they go, because it's big elephants. But finally, Judson reaches Ava, the palace, and gets to see the king. And the king is very upset because the king is in a wartime. He's not very happy at all. But when he sees Judson come and sees a friend with him, he says to him, "Why are you here again?" And Judson said, remember last time, King? We said we were trying to bring a doctor here or a teacher. Well, here's a doctor. What can this doctor do? Can this doctor give me eternal life? I would like eternal life. No, he can't give you eternal life. But he's a good doctor. He has all kinds of good things. In fact, he has a new machine he just got all the way from America. And in this new machine, it's a battery. And this battery, there are these probes here. And you can put these probes on your muscles. And it will help you with your muscle aches, your joint pains, and all that. He's good. Don't worry, he's good. Plus, he's also very good with feet. He's good as a feet doctor. Feet doctor, very important. A lot of times our feet are very dirty, infected, all kinds of bad things there. We need to wrap them up and clean them up and do that kind of stuff. He's good at that. Let him do that. And the king says, not bad. I also have children. I have wives and lots of children. They need help too. Why don't you go take a look at them and maybe be their doctor? That would be nice. And Mrs. Judson, I just remembered my wife and my wives, and many wives. You can go and teach them. That's good. So Mrs. Judson said, good. So Mrs. Judson went to teach the wife of the king, the wives of the king, and then the children of the king. That was good, just like Vacation Bible School. There's so many kids. The king had many kids. But now, indeed, the rumblings of war have come. And the king is really upset because war is going on. And he has sent all his troops, his elephants, everywhere to fight the war. The war is going on and it's going bad for the king. The war is coming to the king's palace. You can see the troops coming. And the king can see from very far off, the troops are coming at him. And so he's really upset. And it's a battle with the British too. So it's not good, because one day the executioner comes to the door of Judson with a soldier. He says, "You are a British spy." And Judson says, "No, I'm American." Americans, British, white guys, all the same. Same language, same people. You are a spy. And I'll give you 10 rupees. 10 rupees. Maybe that's okay? 10 rupees. That's nothing. You are under arrest under orders of the king. And they were about to catch him when, time's up again. Can we continue the story next year? Come back to Vacation Bible School next year. Next year is good. Finish the story. Next year? Okay, come back tomorrow then. Come back tomorrow for the final of the story. Thank you. Someone call me as a storyteller. So what's my name? Uncle Reggie. Correct. Okay? Storyteller is right too. But it's storyteller Uncle Reggie. Okay? You are an English spy. I know that. Oh, no. I'm just an American. American, English, same. White, same. King, arrest you. Go to jail. So they grabbed Adoniram Judson,
threw him into the jail, the worst jail in all of Burma. The hand shrink, not jail. Hand shrink, not jail. Where people are beaten up, thrown into prison, all bound up in all kinds of things, and sometimes they never leave the jail. And you know what they do? They put their feet into stockades, and they leave them there for hours or days. Or they string up their feet up in the air, and they leave them there for hours or days. Or sometimes they put them into shackles and all these manacles and chains and leave them there for hours or days or... And sometimes they just die there, they rot there, and nobody cares. And there's a stench of death everywhere, so you can see the vultures wandering around outside, waiting. Or they smell death, or they see the dead bodies being thrown out of the jail. They all come down. It's a terrible place. Terrible place. Hand shrink, not jail. That Adoniram Judson, messenger of God, is now in this really, really bad jail. But Anne, his faithful wife, comes every day, tries to see him, knocks on the door, tries to get a chance to comfort him. And sometimes she would get through. The jailer would say, "Give me some of that," and she has to pay. And the door's open, and she tries to bring some food for Judson and all the other people, because they're all starved in there too. So they get some food sometimes. And Anne tries so hard to see the king. Wants to tell the king, "Let my husband go, let my husband go, he's not a spy." But the king's gatekeeper says, "No, the king is so busy with the affairs of the kingdom. Our great golden land, the golden foot, has to handle all those important issues. And we're at war, and you're a spy anyway. Why do we care about you?" And one day, the jailer is having a good time. He's playing around with his knives. He's taking out his knives. He has many knives. Takes them out, and he's sharpening them. And everybody thinks he's probably sharpening his knives for some kind of execution. That's what they do periodically. When the jail is too full, there are too many people, you get rid of some. So he walks around and he looks at the jail. Is that? There's some rope here. No, it turns out to be snakes. So he has a field time and he chops up the snakes. And he throws up the snakes, and all the vultures come for the snakes. And then he turns around to the people in the jail. "See, I saved you from those snakes. You better thank me. I'm a good man." And one day, the door opens, and the gang ok is arrested. The gang ok, the chief of all monks, the chief monk, gang ok, is now sent into the jail. And Judson is there watching all this. He's really surprised. He says, "How come the gang ok is here? That's really something really strange." So he goes up to the jailer. He says, Jailer, do you know who this is?" The jailer says, "No, I don't know. He's just some monk." No, not just some monk. He's a chief monk, gang ok. You know, you have a Buddhist belief, right? You might want to get some credit, some merit, some good deeds here. You want to let him out? He's a chief monk, you know. The jailer says, "I don't know. But, you know, some of that would help. Give us a little money, I'll let him out." And sure enough, Anne came with a bit of money. And the next day, jailer went to the gang ok and says, "Shh, shh, shh, shh. was really surprised. The door opened, and the gang all left. And the gang all looked around and saw Judson, and he knew this was what was happening. So he did this, and then he left. The gang all was released. Judson is still in jail. Day after day this happens. But one day, his wife comes, and I have a surprise for you. And the surprise is actually a baby. Oh, a baby. Oh, our baby. Our baby. Maria. Oh, oh. Baby Maria, baby Maria. You're born into this terrible land, but God is with you. God brought you here. You give me joy to see you. Yeah, take her. And take good care of her. She'll need to have good care in this land, in this so sick land. And then one day, he suddenly realized, he said, wait, what about my translation Bible? I've been working on it for years and years. My Bible. And what have you done with it? And Anne said, you know, I knew that it would be dangerous. They might come and they destroy it. So actually I wrapped it up really, really nicely and I buried it in the ground. And that way I think it's kind of safe. And Judson said, I may be safe, but I miss the Bible so much. And maybe it's not so safe. Maybe people will come and dig it up. Think of something, think of a way. And Anne thought of a good way. One day, she came and knocked on the door, and you know what? She said, take this, like a pillow. Jailer, this is just a pillow for my husband. He needs a pillow. Can you give this to him? And the jailer said, sure, why not? A pillow is a dirty old pillow, why not? The dirty old pillow had the Bible in it, the precious word of God. God's word right in the Bible here, the translated version into Burmese. Wow, you're so happy to see this Bible. Now he could sleep on the Bible. Now he could think about the Bible. Now his Bible was close to him. Every night he had the Bible with him. Such a precious, precious thing to have the Bible. And one day, to his great surprise, the jailer opened the door. And Judson didn't pay any attention because he thought the door's open, so somebody's going to come in. But the jailer said, and he said, me? Me? Go! What are you waiting for? So he's ready. So he started going out the door. Go! What are you waiting for? Go! So he went up. A breath of fresh air. After 2 years in the jail. Sunshine. God, thank you. I'm now free at last. But time is coming, and we're not have much time here anymore. I must go and really print the Bible now. The Bible is done now. I can't keep correcting. I know I'm a very compulsive person. I've been correcting for years now. Let's go print the Bible now. Let's print. So they furiously started printing the Bible. Finally, they had the Bibles ready to go, and tracts of the Bible, parts of the Bible, all kinds of Bible things were now being produced. So you could go out in the marketplace and share the Bible with many people, with the Burmese, with all the minority tribes, the Karens especially, to try to help them. And then people started coming to Zayat, his place where he gave these talks. Zayat was surrounded by people who wanted to hear the gospel, the good news. And he even had some disciples willing to come and listen to him so he could preach the gospel to them. And he started baptizing people, baptizing. Formed the first church in Burma. And even Wong Shui Wong, the rebel monk, his teacher in Burmese, one day announced, I am going to be a believer. I've watched you through all these years.
You've been a good student of Burmese, but when I saw you in jail, when I saw how they tortured you and beat you up, and yet you had such a firm faith, and all the messages you taught me about Jesus and God, I want to be a believer. I know that one day I might also be arrested for my new faith, but you have encouraged me. I will go forward. I am going to be a believer. But one day, as he was going to see the king again, far away, because by now the king valued his Burmese and English, so he wanted him to be a translator for him. So every so often he'd go to see the king because of that. And one day he was away with the king. And Anne started running a fever, spikes of fever, up and down, a huge headache, oh, pains all over her body, especially in her tummy. And she had this great distress. The fever was really high. She was so bothered by it. And, oh, sorry, time's up again. Well, we can't finish this. We'll have to do it next year. All right, whatever that language is. All right. But before I finish the story, you have to wait for a few seconds while I ask you to remember several points. 3 items particularly you should have to remember. 1 is to pray for Burma. Pray for Burma, because Burma needs your prayers. There's still millions and millions of people who do not know the love of Jesus. And this is the place where Barnabas was born. Barnabas grew up there. You know Barnabas, one of our missionaries? Barnabas and Rosie and Annie. Rosie and Annie are faithfully serving in Burma. I hope to see them in October when I go to Burma. I hope to see them and try to encourage them. It's a long history of Christian work in Burma, but not that many people are Christians. 2, prayer number 2, remember to pray for those people who are upset by all these gnats. There are 37 gnats, 37 great spirits that give a lot of trouble to the people of Burma. That's why they have to have little houses to pray so that the gnats would not bother them. You have to give them food and offerings to appease them, to make them happy, so the gnats would not bother them. So pray for this superstition. 3 is also the hold of Buddhism. Buddhism is very strong. It affects the lives of everybody, from small to old, from everyday life to every week's life. Everything is Buddhism. Pray for them. And all along the rivers of Burma, the great rivers of Salween and Irrawaddy, all those great rivers. And up in the mountains, where all the minority tribes are too, pray for them. And if you read together with me this very important verse, let's read it together. Isaiah, how lovely on the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, who announces peace and brings good news of happiness, who announces salvation. And says to Zion, your God reigns. This is a wonderful message. This is a message of peace and joy and salvation that we bring. So pray for this. And this is another verse that reminds us of Judson. Let's read together. Next verse. Who will separate us from the love of Christ? Will tribulation or distress or persecution or hunger or nakedness or danger or sword? Adoniram Judson had the sword of the Lord. But he faced a lot of swords in his life. So, to conclude the story, it's a difficult conclusion, really. because there are books and books and books about Adoniram Judson. It's a long story. It's a true story, a very long story. Even though Judson actually burned a lot of his writings because he didn't want people to worship him. He didn't want people to adore him. He didn't want people to think that he was some kind of special person. So he actually threw away, burned, destroyed a lot of the writings. But people pieced together many, many parts of his story. And so now we know. But Anne, when the spikes of fever, she dies suddenly. And Judson is far away in the king's place when he receives the message. Your Anne is no more. She's with the Lord. Oh, he was so heartbroken. She was so heartbroken. And for years, he couldn't get over it, really. It was so sad. They had been married for 14 years. She was only 37 years old when she died. 8 years later, he married Sarah. Sarah's own husband had died 3 years ago, also in Burma, also because of some kind of a fever in Burma. But Sarah also dies later. And most of the children that were in Burma that they had also died. Isn't that a sad ending, if you wish? But because of their courage in going to this land so far away, they changed many lives. He produced the first Bible in Burmese. He produced the first Burmese English dictionary, English-Burmese dictionary, baptized many people, saved many people, started many churches, and it's the beginning of Christianity in Burma. He himself died at age 71, actually at sea. And so he was buried at sea, just like his first premature baby. Let's pray. Father God, we have such great examples of great missionaries who have served and given their lives for you, so that today we can learn about the Christian faith, about you. But there's been a heavy, heavy sacrifice by many people for the gospel's sake. So we should not take this lightly, and we should remember, God, that you are the God that rules over all, and you want all peoples to come to know you. And we thank you for these faithful servants who died in your cause. We thank you, we praise you for this group of young people here. May we carry this message of your love all over the world, so that others may know of the love of Jesus Christ. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Sorry, over. Thank you.